Hi everyone, welcome to this month's Beautypedia live chat where we go over the best and worst products, or the products that were the most standout and probably most disappointing from last month. I am Nathan, the content manager and senior researcher here for the team.
And I am Mercedes. I can't remember my name. I am Mercedes, and I am the lead beauty editor.
So the first Friday of every month, we, as I mentioned, go through the really standout products, the ones that the makeup and skincare products that we liked, that really stood out to us, that were special in some way. Also those products that didn't quite live up to what they were claiming to do, but also kind of stood out probably in some other somewhat unfavorable ways. So just a reminder though, at the end of the show, we'll have links in the About section to our Facebook page where we'll have the actual article versions of these, where we'll go through all of the products. Today's show, we only have so much time, so we'll go through as many as we can, but if you want to see the full list, just watch for that link after the show and you'll be able to see every product we talk about. So we've got a lot of great questions here.
We do.
Yeah.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, and then also we'll try to get to as many of these as we can here. And I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something right after that, and I just completely forgot. I forgot what I was going to say. So
it's the springtime, almost summer.
It
It's
is.
a little bit
It's
warmer
beautiful
today,
outside
so
today.
that's
Yeah,
it.
it's a little warm for Seattle. It's going to be in the 80s, low 80s today, which is pretty hot for this area. So, I remembered. So I was saying that we have a lot of great questions here today, and also if you want to get your questions answered, you can just ask them during the show. We'll try to get to as many as we can, and then also we'll pop back afterwards and answer some of those too. So yeah.
Just click on this link, and you can ask questions whenever you want to, and we come back and check up on it frequently. So if you have a question you weren't able to get in during the show, absolutely go ahead and still ask it.
Yeah. So before we actually get into all of that, though, I thought we would share some of our little sneak peeks or highlights or things that we're excited about.
Yes.
You want to get us started?
Okay, this is one that a lot of you out there have asked about. It gets a lot of attention from beauty editors, and so yes, we are going to be reviewing Charlotte Tilbury's Charlotte's Magic Cream. That's right.
We're caught in Charlotte's web.
We are caught in Charlotte's web. That's awesome.
Not to call her a spider.
But we are reviewing Charlotte's Magic Cream. This has a lot of like I said, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement around it. It's supposed to be like the beauty, cure for like everything.
It's supposed to be magic.
It's supposed to be magic. It even says on the ingredient list. You can't read it here, but on the ingredient list it even says on their website. And a little bit
Someone
of magic.
literally just asked about Charlotte Tilbury on the question.
Look at that! You guys are reading our minds already. We have heard, we have listened, and we are indeed reviewing Charlotte Tilbury products. First up, Magic Cream. Charlotte Tilbury is a UK-based makeup artist. She has a lot of famous clients. She's backstage at all the fashion weeks and that kind of thing. And this is supposed to be the concoction that she came up with 20 years ago. That's supposed to for all those makeup changes and late nights and all that kind of thing. This is supposed to be what it fixes everything. So
she came up with this, my ass.
That's right.
She just like mixed all these silicones together and these fatty acids and this shea butter.
She just had like a little lab and
a little mica like in there. Just not to say, this could be a great product. We don't know, so it's right.
But I don't know that Charlotte was like actually backstage like with like cosmetic grade materials,
like goggles on.
Like I'm not quite sure that's exactly how it came about, but it makes for a great backstory. So.
Yeah, we are absolutely, as Mercedes mentioned, we're definitely checking out the full line. Oh, I gave you a really cool shot there. We're actually going to check out the full line, including all the foundations, the eye makeup products. They're all on their way to us as we speak. So
yes, I just put in a big order.
She did.
So I did.
Big order, yes.
Big order, so it's on the way.
But yeah, and then also we have a question here about whether or not we're going to review, this is from Elvita17, about whether we're going to review Kevin Aucoin products. We do definitely have it on our list of the brand to check out. We might end up checking out, and posting them piecemeal. Like we might not post the whole brand at once. We might post them, one at a time or 5 at a time or something, because he's got a lot of great products. I know some of the products I definitely have experience with. I'm really fond of his bronzers are excellent, from the brand, and the sensual skin enhancer and that sort of thing. So you'll definitely be seeing some of those, pretty soon. So now, I actually have some. I was trying to think of something to share tonight. Couldn't quite think of what it was, because I don't know. I was just having a crisis of beauty products or something. So I was actually going to do a video this morning, but then I got sidetracked doing a bunch of other stuff. So instead of recording my video today, I thought, well, I would mention some of the points of what I was going to mention today, because I wanted to talk about. I've actually been recently checking out different eye treatments, different eye creams and different eye products, trying to find something that I really liked, not only for just as a normal moisturizer treatment themselves, but also something to help kind of blur outside the dark circles or kind of under eye shadows, that sort of thing. I'm just going to come out and say, like, I am a fan of separate eye treatments, and you don't necessarily need a separate eye treatment, but you also don't need mascara. And it's one of those things that if you like it, go ahead and use it. Smoke them if you got them. But I don't know where that came from.
Well, I think it's because for a lot of us, the first place you start to see the signs of aging are right around the eyes. That's kind of where the first wrinkles pop up. So. It just makes you feel better if you feel like you've got just one more layer of skin care or something going on around there, because that's one of the areas that shows aging first.
Yeah.
Even in your 20s, people start to get those little lines around the eyes. So.
And I don't really have I keep my routine pretty simple. However, I do like that special little, eye treatment, especially because I really don't like to use a moisturizer on my face. I kind of keep it really limited to more liquid or gel-like products. The only kind of moisturizer-like product I use is retinol, the Polytrace Clinical Retinol, and that one has kind of a lotiony texture, which is more than enough moisture for my skin.
Because you have naturally oily skin.
I do.
Like me, I have skin like the desert, so I have all the moisturizers, 3 different kinds of things like that. But if you have oily skin, you don't really need 3 or 4 different ones.
Yeah. And so if I'm going to use something special in my eye area, I'm going to go ahead and spend some more money than I have to and get something that I really like. So 2 that I really like, and they're both actually from Jack Black. And I saw we actually got a question here from Jack Black. But they're both from Jack Black, and they're both awesome products here. The first one is the Pro Series Protein Booster Eye Rescue, and this one is a I guess you can kind of think of this like their anti-aging line, the Pro Series. It has kind of more complex ingredients and that sort of thing, and this is actually a bit almost like an oil lotion type product, and it has it's a bit richer. It has it looks like that.
Yeah.
Looks like that, yeah. And so it definitely does feel kind of a bit richer around the eye area, and I kind of like that. So I use this actually at nighttime. And now for the daytime, the thing I like about the Protein Rescue is that it has a lot of really nice ingredients to it.
It's just
Peptides, vitamin C. There's a lot of really good, impressive things here, and there's no fragrance. And for this size product, it's relatively expensive for an eye product. It's $40, I think, maybe $32, $40, somewhere right around there. So the other one I like is actually also by Jack Black, as I mentioned, and this is their eye balm.
I think that just looks cool.
I think so too.
I'm like, whoa! You can kind of see through it a little bit, and it's kind of like I'm assuming it's a gel. It looks like a gel.
It is. It's actually, what's unique about this and what I liked about it is because it's almost like a gel and an oil at the same time.
Nice.
So it's not like that kind of like gummy gel or watery gel. When you put it on, it actually kind of feels like an oil. I can't see what, oh yeah, I can see. It actually kind of feels like an oil gel blend, which I think is pretty cool. And I just wear that, under my sunscreen, or I've been looking at some other products that helped, for under eye circles, but I'm not really a big fan of wearing concealer during the daytime, especially because I feel like it's always ends up being a little bit heavier. If I'm going to wear concealer, it's going to be because I have like a zit or something like that. So 2 products I really like, and one is actually by Becca, and we actually haven't reviewed it yet. This is the Under Eye Brightening Corrector, and it is it has even though it looks pretty kind of shimmery.
Yeah, it does. In the pop there,
but it actually is. it actually just has like a really nice kind of.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, a really nice luminescence to it, and that pink is pretty universal. And just the nice thing with this is it looks really natural. It actually just looks like, it kind of gives your face a slight appearance of you getting a tan because that under eye area gets slightly lighter, but it's not lighter in the way like, oh, I've got concealer on.
Oh, yeah.
And it does give that kind of really super subtle luminescence to it, and just enough moisture and just enough slip, and it doesn't crease into fine lines.
Oh, now see, that's the good thing, because I mean, the tendency if you have dark circles is to pack on the concealer. I mean, I've done that many times where you put on a bunch of concealer, but of course when you put on the concealer, you cover up the dark circles temporarily, but as soon as your face starts to move, you see every line or crease, even lines or creases you don't have. They're just lines or creases that appear when you smile, and then that concealer shows it. So you kind of trade dark circles for lines.
Exactly. Yeah. And so this is just kind of a nice alternative, and it's really fast. I'm just kind of pat it down into the eye area, and I'm done. The other one, though, which I thought was pretty cool, and I just started checking this out, was by Ole Hendrickson, and this is his Perfect Truth CC Eye Cream. And really, all it is, it's SPF 15. What it is it actually is a pretty moisturizing product, but it does have some pigment to it.
Oh.
And the nice thing with this is that actually, because you see brands talk about like a universal pigment and then they don't always quite get it right. Well, this one actually really is a universal pigment, at least as far as I'm concerned, because I've seen I had a staffer at Sephora, because I didn't believe it, and she's like super fair, like Mercedes looks like she's from the Bahamas fair, and so she actually just put it on right under her eyes just so I could see, and it really did kind of blend right in, and on me it did the same thing, and it just kind of did a subtle blurring of dark circles, but it has a broad spectrum SPF 15.
It's nice to see that, because you may not know it, or you may if you're familiar, that one of the causes of dark circles is sun damage. So having an SPF product in that eye area will actually help prevent dark circles. So in addition to kind of concealing it, it also helps prevent dark circles. So.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, so far I really like it. We haven't reviewed it in Beautypedia. One of the weird things about it is it does claim 5 different forms of vitamin C, but the only forms of vitamin C I could really find, there were 2 there, but then there were some vitamin C's from citrus extracts. They were all the way down at the end of the ingredient list, and it has no scent to it, which is really strange. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. But I mean, otherwise than that, it is a really interesting product. So
wait, now if it has 5 different types of vitamin C, shouldn't it be a CCCCC cream? Sorry.
A CC, yeah, exactly. You're right.
CC cream, 5 C's.
God, I kind of went on and on about that. So I guess we should get to, let's actually get to some questions here before we get to the actual main part of the show. We did grab a few of the questions from before the actual show actually started, some of the early birds that showed up. The very first one was from Chrissy to Be Lovely here on YouTube. And she had, please talk about SPF clothing. Does it really work for added protection, or is it a waste of money? Have you tried SPF clothing?
I haven't, and I should, because I have very fair skin, and it's getting to be summertime, and outdoors, and I love swimming and hanging outside. I'm a Georgia girl originally, so I love warm weather and love to be outside during warm weather. So I should really check that out.
It is, it is certainly effective. Clothing in general has, some amount of SPF to it. All types of clothing. What changes the SPF? Changes with the type of fabrics. More synthetic fabrics, or synthetic fabrics in general, and blends have a greater SPF, and then tighter woven fabrics, more dense fabrics have a greater SPF as well. However, that UV protection clothing, or that sunscreen clothing, as they call it, uses an ultraviolet protective filter, protective something. I can't think of what the P word is, but protection. ultraviolet protection factor is what UPF is what clothing uses, and it is absolutely effective and broad spectrum. They can either achieve that, a 15 through 50, either from, as I mentioned, like a density of weave or synthetic fabrics, or it can actually be pre-treated with a solvent, or a solution rather. I'm sorry, a solution that has some UV factors to it that gradually wears down over long periods of time. So it absolutely is effective. Whether or not
I need to get a hat.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about that. I really need to get a hat because that's one area you really don't think a lot about is your scalp, and then you wind up going like, oh, yeah. I put sunscreen on my face and I put it on my arms, but did not get the top of my head. So a hat.
Yeah, and so the thing with these, I'm answering some of the questions. The thing with the sunscreen clothing is that it's not the most fashionable. I think. I mean, it's really more. Well, it's my opinion, I guess I should say. Some of them can be a little weird looking, in my opinion. But there's actually some like Coolie Bar, is a great brand that has some pretty cool or interesting looking clothing that kind of blends into just the normal clothing style, or looks like somewhat more athletic, but. Certainly, Chrissy, to be lovely, it is a good option you can combine with your sunscreen to help kind of give you that little bit of edge to it. So our next question from Liz Academy. So I have a sample of the Cover FX custom color drops. One of the two, and I love them as a concealer. I'm not sure what to mix them with as a foundation to get a foundation from it. A sunscreen, moisturizer, any suggested brands for normal skin. I saw you got some great suggestions here from the community earlier in the show. Essentially, Liz, really you can mix them with anything. You can mix them with a, because I tested them pretty extensively.
He did. Nathan tried these out and loved it.
Yeah. I thought they were great, great products. We tried them with really a lot of things. So you can mix them, as mentioned here, you can mix them with a sunscreen, your sunscreen, just 2 drops or 3 drops, and that's it. Really, that is all you need. Anything more than that, and it's not going to look, natural, certainly as the day goes on, because it's going to be a lot of coverage. You can add those 2 or 3 drops at most, and that won't affect the amount of sunscreen that you have, won't affect your sunscreen protection, especially if you're using like the full amount as you normally would. Or you can apply your sunscreen and then mix it a few drops with your sunscreen, and then just kind of stipple it on or something, like over the areas where you want to use that. You can also mix it with a tinted moisturizer as well to help improve the coverage of that product, or of a foundation you like to improve the coverage, or to adjust the
customize your color.
Exactly.
Exactly. Sometimes it can be hard to find an exact match to your particular skin type, but doing something like that, you can get something a little more sort of specialized or customized. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you can just apply a drop or 2 to the back of your hand, where that moisturizer is, kind of blend it in, and then once it gets relatively blended, you just kind of stipple it, or with a beauty blender, or your fingers even though your fingers, though, the thing with your fingers and that custom cover drops is that when it first kind of blends in, it might look a little bit uneven until you actually get it on your face, and then it kind of blends together really beautifully. But with your fingers, it just doesn't apply as evenly as you would want it to, whereas if you're using a brush, or a beauty blender, or something like that, what do you use?
I use a beauty blender.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I love my beauty blender. It's awesome.
Yeah. And so that is a great option. And you'll find with experimenting, that it is it's a really nice flexible product, I think. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've got one more question, and I think this is a great one, Mercedes, for you to take, because we were just talking about this. Bloody Mary had the question about if I use a highly pigmented lipstick, is it like a sun protector anyway, or do I really have to put on a sunscreen underneath?
Highly pigmented, a lipstick, it is creating, you're putting another layer over your lips, so there is some degree of sun protection there, but you're not getting anything that you can kind of rely upon for sun protection. So while it probably does do some sun protection, it's generally a good idea just to have a lip product with SPF underneath. Now, I know a lot of people kind of don't want to wear lip products with SPF, because if it's a mineral-based SPF lip product, it may be a little tacky, maybe the texture, and for a lot of of the synthetic sunscreen actives. A lot of people say that they don't taste good. The lipsticks can help, but for that maximum sun protection, I would recommend using a lip balm or something like that. And it just put a little bit underneath to provide that extra layer, and then put your lipstick over it. I usually, when I wear lipstick, I generally put on, I do have a lip balm with sunscreen that I use, and I do let that sink in for just a little bit. Let it kind of sit on my lips for a little while, dab it just a little bit, and then apply my lipstick. Because I know a lot of people don't like to wear lipstick directly over their lip balm because it may cause it, the color's not as opaque, or if it's a long wearing formula, it doesn't last quite as long. So just let it kind of sit for, if you have the time, kind of let that lip balm stay for just a few minutes there on your lips. You'll be doing other things like put on your lip balm right after you brush your teeth in the morning, and then you can, while you're doing the rest of your routine and doing your hair and that kind of stuff, can allow it to kind of sink in a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. So, anything else to say on that?
I think that's it.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get into our, we've been going on long enough here, I've been blabbering. Let's go ahead and get into our best and worst for the month, or
Yes.
our top and our top favorites and least favorite products. Yeah. So, Mercedes, do you want to kind of briefly remind everyone about how we go about, for those of you who may not know, how we go about reviewing skincare products? Like, what are the main points?
Of course, there are a lot of people who have favorite skincare products and skincare products they don't like. But for us, we have a set of standards that we go by to make sure that we're reviewing products in a way that's helpful to everyone out there, no matter what kind of product you like, if it's a gel, a liquid, a cream. We try to go by a set of standards that actually is the most helpful to you. First and foremost, what we're looking for in a skincare product are ingredients. You're looking for good ingredients, anti-aging ingredients, antioxidants, retinol, sodium hyaluronate, all of these great ingredients. And what you're not looking for are irritants. Irritants can actually do damage to skin. So in that case, we're talking about fragrant plant extracts, alcohol, anything that sort of can cause any sort of skin cell damage. And you'd be surprised how many ingredients out there that are included in skincare products do this. And this is research based. There's research behind all of this. That's how we do our reviews. Peer-reviewed, independent studies, and a lot of them we use as a basis for the ingredients. Second is, of course, packaging. Now, even if you have the best ingredients in the world, no irritants, no fragrance, nothing like that, if it's not in a package that will keep those ingredients stable, you're not getting the full benefit from it. So, especially jar packaging. Jar packaging is a big one. When you have a product in a jar, it's exposed to light, air, and antioxidants in particular break down in the presence of light and air. So we analyze the packaging to see if you can get the full benefit of those ingredients. And the third is, does it live up to its claims? We look at what the product is supposed to do, what the brand says that the product is supposed to be able to do for your skin, and then we look at those ingredients and say, okay, can it really reduce wrinkles? Can it reduce pore size? Does it blur imperfections? So we take a look, we have a multi-tiered approach that we use to make sure that you have all the information that you possibly can have before you go out and buy any of these products. So
that's very good. That was very good. Yeah, that would have taken me like an hour to explain. I can just be, that's the word, loquacious, is that what they say? So in terms of how we review makeup products, it is much more subjective, of course, because makeup is subjective by its nature. But we do have a criteria, kind of a base criteria that we have for each particular type of makeup, in terms of the certain things that it absolutely has to hit that you would expect from any type of makeup, whether it's foundation or eyeshadow or lipstick, those sorts of things. And then also, we look at what the claims are for the formula. If a makeup product claims to be waterproof, then it should be waterproof or long wearing. Or if it claims to have one thing or another, if it makes anti-aging claims, then it should have those ingredients. It should have the type of packaging that facilitates its use. And then other things like the potential for irritation, as another factor there. If it has ingredients, in an amount that would be particularly problematic, that would be something that we evaluate as well too.
Exactly.
So. Well, okay, let's go ahead and
right.
get started. So why don't we go ahead and start with skincare?
Yay.
And I think I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking at our list here. So the first one is from SkinCeuticals, and it is their Metacell B3 Renewal. Metacell Renewal B3? What is it? Metacell Renewal B3.
Renewal B3.
Yes.
For the bargain price of
$110.
$110.
So this is a formula, it is though, interesting enough, it is 1.7 ounces. That's almost 2 ounces. A treatment product, normally they're about 1 ounce. So technically for SkinCeuticals, this isn't a huge, cost for them anyway, because if you think about their vitamin C, E-ferulic is like $160 or something like that for an ounce. So the whole thing with this is that this is a vitamin B or niacinamide-based treatment. They base it around niacinamide and peptide, and then also glycerin, which was really kind of weird, as an anti-aging ingredient. And they focus on this being a anti-aging ingredient or product for those who are just starting to see the signs of photo damage.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Well, and this is a 5% niacinamide, which I thought, that's great. There is definite research around there showing that.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. It is, yeah. And the only thing, though, at 5% niacinamide, excellent. The peptide they're using is a peptide that has no research around it. It's a peptide that's kind of a brand new peptide. It's kind of seems to be more of a marketing term at this point, a marketing ingredient, because, again, there is no peer-reviewed or published research that shows this particular type of synthetic peptide does anything at all for skin. So that's kind of a wash, but it's not harmful, at least, as far as we know. Then also, glycerin. That's kind of a weird call-out ingredient.
Yeah, you don't really hear like the anti-aging benefits of glycerin.
Exactly.
Kind of
really. Glycerin does work well when it's paired with other emollients to help moisturize skin. When it's paired with other moisturizing ingredients, so that is beneficial. All in all, this would have been a great product to help treat the signs of sun damage or aging in general, especially, at that 5% niacinamide.
But,
I was thinking, when I'm looking for something to help fade signs of sun damage, I know what I want in that type of product. I want an extra ingredient in there that can cause a phototoxic reaction that can actually give me sunspots or darken areas of skin. That's exactly what I'm looking for in something I'm going to shell out $110 for. This actually has a few different types of phototoxic citrus oils in it, which is astounding to me that anyone would do that. But the fact that they're at such a high level in this product is kind of crazy, and it's like a citrus balm.
Okay. I have a little. Oh wait.
It actually would be a really nice little cologne, actually.
Oh wow, yeah, you can smell.
Yeah, if you like citrusy scents. But
smells
so
lemony.
Exactly. 1 star for you, SkinCeuticals. 1 star, because that's just not something. I mean, who does that? That type of ingredient in a product that's supposed to treat signs of photo damage. Yeah. So on this one, so there we go.
Make a nice cologne, though. So.
It would make a nice cologne. It would make a nice cologne. So what do we got next, Mercedes?
Okay, up next we have a product that we rated best, and it actually has a lot of great aspects about it. And this is the Olay Pro X Anti-Aging Nightly Purifying Micro Peel. That's it. And what this is a concentrated glycolic acid treatment. Glycolic acid is one of the AHAs, the alpha hydroxy acids. And alpha hydroxy acids can really do a lot for your skin. They can help treat sun damage, help reduce wrinkles. I mean, it's a great ingredient to have. And this has a lot of it. Glycolic acid is third ingredient in. We don't know the exact percentage of this one, but it could be as high as 10%. So as a micro peel, that's absolutely what it can do. We pH tested this, and it turned out at 3.8, which is exactly where you want it to be to exfoliate. So another good point. It's fragrance-free, has no irritants. In fact, it has some anti-irritants in the formula because glycolic acid for some people can cause a little bit of skin irritation. And so it's nice to have a product with glycolic acid that has a couple of buffers in it to reduce the chance of getting that redness or skin irritation that you might have. And it just comes in the coolest little container. It might not look like it from the outside. It looks like a standard twist top, but you can see a little button here at the top. There's a little line. You can tell it's a button. So when you open it up, look, that lifts the button up. And what that does is this is a dropper, a little syringe. It loads the syringe.
Yep.
So when you twist off the cap, it loads the syringe. And to dispense it, you just squeeze down on the dropper. It dispenses. You put that back in. Top goes down. Product goes back in.
It's kind of a nice little gel-looking product.
It is. It's really lightweight. It's just great all around. And this packaging is genius. And it's $40, which is not bad for a glycolic peel. And it's readily available because it's Olay. So Olay is at every drugstore ever and grocery store ever. So it's very easy to find. And this is a great product from Olay. They did an awesome job. Like I said, no fragrant, glycolic acid, pH that works, convenient dropper. Good job. We loved it.
Yeah, and it is, Robert had a question of whether or not this was similar to their night resurfacing elixir.
It is. Actually, their night resurfacing elixir is being discontinued. So this is the replacement product, and this is actually a little bit better. So
yes, there you go.
So they're actually replacing it with a superior product.
And this is $40, $39?
$39.99.
Yeah, $39.99. So, and a little of this goes a long way, actually, because looking at how much was on the on your hand there. So even though that's kind of pricey for Olay, I mean, definitely they're certainly getting up there, but this will last you, I'd say probably about a month or two if you're using it like every day, which you probably won't need to. So, if you're worrying about the price there, that is, certainly something to consider. Okay, so let's go to the next product. So there were actually a couple of great sunscreens or interesting sunscreens that came to us, this month. Came to us through the magic of getting in our car and going to Sephora. I mean, not really came to us, So we had a couple of interesting mineral sunscreens, and one of them was the Clinique for Men UV Defense Broad Spectrum SPF 50. Now with Clinique, their only other all mineral sunscreen is the City Block, kind of their long-standing City Block, formula. Well, this is actually another option, for mineral, and it is a total mineral formula, a combination of zinc and titanium dioxide. And zinc. And it is actually better, I think, than their City Block because it is lightweight. It is much more fluid than their City Block. And once it actually applies to skin and you rub it in, that white cast is pretty much gone. The thing with mineral sunscreens, and this will always be true with mineral sunscreens, is that you're going to get a white cast. I know people ask us, what's a mineral sunscreen that doesn't have a white cast? It's not a mineral sunscreen.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I mean there are some that have tints, but that then you.
Yeah, there are some that have tints, but every single mineral sunscreen out there will have a white cast to it. There is not one that will not. However, in lightweight formulas like this, you can certainly find that after it dries, and I wore this, for definitely for about a week or two. So much through that I went through the first bottle, and then I had to buy us another one.
Oh, wow, nice.
I know, yeah.
That's a testament to how awesome it is.
Yes, but I also testament to how much sunscreen I wear because I wear tons of sunscreen.
That's good.
But as you can see, it just does kind of like fade away, that white cast. So it's definitely not something that's disruptive. And if you add this, if you're someone who wears foundation or powder, you're never going to see a white cast under this, even if you have a deeper skin tone. We tried that on a staffer here who has a much deeper skin tone than mine, and she, it actually just vanished on it. So once it dries down to a great kind of lightweight matte finish to it. This is by far, I think, Clinique's best sunscreen for the face if you are looking for something a bit milder. It's a straight sunscreen though. There's nothing beneficial, and they don't make any other beneficial claims to it. So if you're just looking for a sunscreen formula, it is $30, for an ounce, even though it looks small. It is actually a full ounce, but this will probably last you about 3 weeks if you wear it every single day. You wear a lot, it might last you 2 weeks. So there's the thing there. If you're looking for something that you can just wear, perhaps on a special occasion basis, or if you want to, just try it for one reason or another, this might be worth experimenting with. But certainly it's an option to try. And again, pretty surprising coming from Clinique, which I haven't personally been a great fan of their sunscreens aesthetically, which is more of a personal preference, but there you
Just
have it.
because it's labeled for men doesn't mean it's just for guys. Ladies, you can just use
Yes.
this just as well. So.
And then Ben Catastrophe had the question, does it become oily? I mean, I have oily skin, not super oily skin now, but I do have a tendency to have oily skin, and it did not make my skin any more oilier than it normally is. It did not control oil, though, however, either. So, I mean, don't expect this to do that for you if you have naturally oily skin. If you have combination skin, though, to very slightly oily skin, you might find actually the natural matte finish of minerals, does provide that for you, because this does certainly have, a very lightweight, there's no emollients to it, a very lightweight finish to it, so. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, we have like tons
Wow.
of questions. Okay, why don't we go ahead and, okay, great. I like this one. I like this one a lot. So this is one from Riss Loves Beauty. And any tips for quick AM skincare products from after the gym? I don't have a lot of time. Sorry, the light's so bright in here. I was straining to read it. So quick skincare products after the gym. Yeah, absolutely. You can do just a exfoliant in the morning. Like for example, my routine at the gym in the morning after I work out, I usually just do a BHA exfoliant, a retinol, and then a sunscreen, and that's it. Mm-hmm. As I mentioned, I have kind of naturally oily skin, so I don't really need to do any moisturizing products, or any kind of moisturizers on top of that. So it's easy, for me to do those quacks. Just those quick steps, and technically I could probably just go right from the BHA to my sunscreen, that would be fine, but I want to throw the retinol in there too, and then sometimes my eye treatment. But really just exfoliant treatment product if you like, and then sunscreen, or if your sunscreen is loaded with a lot of beneficial ingredients, you could just go from exfoliant to that. I use the 2% BHA liquid and the Resist SPF 50, the super light fluid from Paula's Choice. I like those because they're just really lightweight formulas. So that's really all you need to do. You can throw a toner on there too if you want, but really those are kind of the most important products. And then you can apply any makeup on top of that you like. I would say, a great option if you have naturally oily skin or combination skin, if you want something really quick to apply, is that you can go with either a tinted moisturizer, because if you make those are kind of faster to blend in, I think, or you can go with a powder foundation because those are much easier to apply. You can just kind of done.
Head out the door.
Yes, exactly. You asked the question here. I saw how do we like the Beauty Blender? I think the Beauty Blender is great.
I love it.
Yeah,
love it. Love my Beauty Blender.
Great little product. It is, if once you kind of learn how to use it, because for some people there can be a learning curve. Once you kind of get that right, balancing motion down. I think it's a great product. I personally tend to prefer kind of more brushes, myself, but Beauty Blender is great for applying, kind of liquids or creams or blending in cream products and those sorts of things. So, what do you use it for?
I have a liquid foundation. I use the MAC Mineralized Moisture SPF 15, and what I do is I basically just put the foundation on my hand and then just dab the, dampen the blender, put it on my hand, and then just kind of dab all over, and it makes application extremely, it's very fast, and you don't really need to do, I even found with for me, even with a foundation brush, I still had to do some kind of finger blending. And with the Beauty Blender, I really don't have to do that at all. It's that nice stippling effect, and it evenly distributes everything, and you can kind of get into the sides of your nose, under your eyes. I even use it over my eyes, and it works great, and it's made my makeup application actually a lot faster.
Yeah. Great. So I'm just looking at some other questions here. So always NYC. Always NYC1 had the question of, Nathan, you talked about not really using a moisturizer because of your oily skin. I thought oily skin still needs a moisturizer. It does need beneficial ingredients. Whether that comes in the form of a moisturizer or a serum or a retinol product, those are all things that you can decide for yourself. Some people like to use a moisturizer. There's certainly a lot of lightweight moisturizers and gels out there on the market. A lot of really great options there. I'm actually just trying one now that I was going to talk about earlier and I forgot about.
There's a lot of when skin needs moisture, it needs to retain its moisture. All skin generally has moisture, and what you're looking for is barrier repair. So you don't necessarily need a ton of emollients. Emollients are good, especially for someone like me with very dry skin. But you know, when you're looking at ingredients like sodium hyaluronate, those are absolutely great to have.
So if you're looking for, this is just kind of timely, Skin Rescue Oil-Free Mattifying Gel from First Aid Beauty. It's kind of weird because they position this as a mattifier, but if you look at the ingredients, this is a rock star gel moisturizer for oily skin.
Number one up there is like water and like glycerin's right up there.
Yeah, and then it has licorice extract, it has vitamin C, niacinamide, ceramides, green tea, it has feverfew extract, squalene, vitamin E. I mean, there's like a ton of really good stuff in here, and the formula itself is much like a kind of watery gel, to it. And they call it mattifying. It's not mattifying at all. I don't know what they're thinking, but that's not bad because it doesn't make you greasy or shiny either. It's just kind of like putting like a water gel on your face. And so it's a nice lightweight moisturizer, and it's a good price too for 2 ounces. I think it's like $22. And I have no idea what I'm talking about. Actually, I don't remember how much it costs. So don't listen to that. But the bottom line is that you can use a moisturizer that you like if it has the beneficial ingredients you're looking for. But if you don't want that in a moisturizer or you haven't found one you liked, you can explore other options. I find that just using a retinol product, I use the Clinical 1% retinol, and you just need 1 pump to 2 pumps of that. And there's more than enough moisture there for me, and it's got a lot of beneficial ingredients. I don't need anything else on top of that because 1% retinol combined with all this other stuff, I mean, yeah, it's great to have a lot of good extras, but I'm looking to prioritize how much I put on my face. And so that's a good silver bullet as far as I'm concerned. So that was kind of a long explanation. I hope I didn't go on too long. So, okay, great. Let's move into makeup. And Mercedes, I think you should start us off with your...
Okay. With what I'm wearing right now, not this exact shade that I'm going to hold up here, but I am wearing a shade of it. If you are looking for a long-wearing lipstick, and a lot of us are, Rimmel, their Provocalips 16-hour kiss-proof lip color does what it's. I was just amazingly impressed. The color I'm holding up is a red called Kiss Me You Fool. I am wearing a color called Make Your Move. That's the name of the color I'm wearing right now, and this was just so impressive. Went on very easily. I mean, it kind of just glided across my lips. Now, of course, this is one of those sort of dual-ended formulas. You'll notice there's one end, this that has there's the lip color, and the other side has that kind of seal/moisturizer because, of course, long-wearing lip products can be drying. That's goes with it. So that's the top coat there. This is not necessarily a new concept. This has actually been out there for quite some time. The 2-part long-wearing lipstick, but Rimmel does a brilliant job with it. It does a fantastic job. This really just, I mean, it holds up. I wore it. It is really, truly transfer proof. I have a little glass here. So there's a little clear glass, and I'm pressing my lips against it. And the only thing you can see, it looks like amazing. It's just lip balm. Yeah. All you can see is just the top coat, the moisturizing top coat on there, but you cannot see any color whatsoever. It's impressive. I ate greasy food while I was wearing it. I accidentally fell asleep one time when I was wearing it, and it was still there. It stayed put. I have dry skin, like I said, that extends to my lips, and with this and the top coat, I didn't feel like my lips were dried out. This is pretty tenacious though, so if you're expecting to just use a paper towel or something like paper towel or something like that to just get this off, you're going to need more than that. Rimmel's site itself actually suggests an oil-based makeup remover. Dual-phase makeup remover works well. You just take a cotton pad and saturate it with your makeup remover and just use it like you would to remove a waterproof eyeliner or waterproof mascara. That's exactly the same technique you would use to remove this. But it is absolutely brilliant. It works well. It actually has a pretty good range of colors. And let me double check. What is the price on? It's $6.69, under $7. So
that is crazy.
Why not get a ton of them?
I know. You know, and
I have actually. Well, after I tried this out, I was just so impressed. I had to get some for myself that I added to my makeup collection.
And it doesn't look like long-wearing lip color on your
No.
lips, because some of them it just looks like, you know, it just looks like a layer of plastic, you know, on some of those long-wearing lip colors. But this is actually a really nice one.
I actually saw a lady in Target the other day, and she was picking this. She was, I was at Target looking for some other makeup products on the review list, and she was looking at this and kind of, you know, musing out loud, you know, should I get this? And I kind of called over to her, get it, it's awesome.
So Ben had a question here. Ben Catastrophe had the question of, and I was just going to type it, but it'd be faster for me just to answer. He had the question of how long do I wait between applying my skincare layers? Really, I don't really wait long at all. I just kind of, about the time it takes me to go from one product to the next. You don't need to wait, in terms of skincare effectiveness. You can layer one product right on top of another. But the only thing you do need to consider, though, is your aesthetic preferences. Some people don't like the feeling of layering one wet product on top of another. And if that is something that you don't like, then wait until it dries. You just don't need to. I was showing this on the screen for Stacy. She had the question of. Stacy Allen had the question of what's a great foundation for dry skin that doesn't cling to patches that does offer some coverage. And I did answer this in here and I showed up earlier, but I should just mention it. So Hourglass Illusion Hyaluronic Acid Skin Tint, SPF 15, excuse me. This is a really nice foundation, even though it's called tint. This is a medium coverage foundation. There is no denying it. But it's a great option, provides certainly coverage, and it is excellent if you have dry skin. So it's certainly one I would recommend checking out. Another actually great option that I just suddenly cannot think of the name now, and I don't know why it just totally left me. If I think of it, I'll bring it back up. I don't know what happened there. So, but that's certainly a really good one to check out. So there you go. Next, what do we got next? Oh, so speaking of foundations, this is one I did a video on,
which is awesome. If you have not seen it yet, look this up because there's a point where Nathan dunks his head in a bowl of water. You don't want to miss it. Really, you don't.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
Just a test for you.
See, look at this. This is putting himself out there for just
The MAC, this is their newest foundation, the MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof Foundation. This is a new addition to the Pro Longwear line, and some of their foundations for Pro Longwear, I guess there's really just one right now, isn't there? I think one remaining. No, two. There's a compact, I think. They're okay, but this is really, they knocked it out of the park with this one. So this one, the name, Nourishing Waterproof Foundation. The big call out there that they really emphasize is that it's waterproof. It is long wearing, and it provides medium to full coverage that looks natural on skin. Absolutely true on all fronts. It provides medium to full coverage that it blends in really easily. It does, once it dries though, it does not budge on skin. So you kind of have to, I go through this in the video, you kind of have to kind of blend it quickly and getting into all those areas.
That's
it. Once it dries, nothing's going anywhere unless you actually apply some force to it to move it around. The other thing that they claim is the long wearing, and this will, if you have oily skin, last you through the day. Unless you're applying something underneath it that's super emollient or just doesn't play well with it, and I can't really think of what that might be, but there could be some sunscreens out there that could have that. I tested it under 5 different sunscreens.
Oh, wow.
And it was the same every time. Even on a sunscreen that was completely inappropriate for my skin type, it held up like a champ. But the most impressive part, as Mercedes is mentioning, is that this is genuinely waterproof. You can get yourself wet, it can rain, you can sweat, you can dunk your face in a bowl of water, and it's not going to go anywhere. But it actually washes off really easily. A great product all in all. It does is a little bit pricey, $32 for about 0.85 ounces. So it is definitely pricier for MAC, but if you're looking for something that's long wearing, especially for the summer months, I would definitely check this out. It's available in NC and NW 15 through 50. So most color ranges. You're 15, right?
I am.
15?
I'm NC 15.
Yeah. And it goes all the way up to 50.
That and this lipstick, and you're just
I know.
set all day long. Put it on at 8 o'clock in the morning and at midnight. You're like, okay, I've still got my makeup, and it looks freshly applied.
And so it's just a great option. It applies well over sunscreen, as I mentioned. It applies well over just anything, it seems like. So check it out. All right, what do we got next?
Okay, the next is one that is not a bad product, but it just didn't live up to the expectations. And if you remember last month's live chat, Nathan spoke about the Kat Von D Shade and Light Face Contour Palette, which got a best. It got a 4-star rating because it really was brilliant. And of course, there's a companion product, the Shade and Light Eye Contour product. And of course, it... of course, contouring is a big buzzword these days. What this really is a nude or neutral eyeshadow palette, but they call it contouring because contouring sounds cooler.
Yes, exactly.
Now, this is $46, and like all Kat Von D palettes, I mean, you get a ton of product. It's very generous, and it's arranged in basically 3 different quads. There are 12 eyeshadow shades altogether, and they're arranged in 3 set quads. Of course, you don't have to. You can use whatever color combination you want to. But there are the 3 base shades up here, and then there are the 3 sort of highlight shades. Some of these performed really well. The satin formulas and the more matte formulas did a good job. But overall, the darker shades, I found they were very difficult to blend and in some cases quite powdery. The times I wore this, I wore it a few different times, and I always wound up with some fallout from the darker shades. And if you have fair skin like me especially, that's really apparent. And it just didn't... Kat Von D is a brand that has palettes I think are really their strongest product. And there are some brilliant products, but this one just did not live up to their normal, usual performance. I'd actually say for one that's not quite neutral, but has some beautiful shades. If you want to check it out, the Monarch palette is brilliant. So Kat Von D usually does a good job. This just didn't live up to the hype. And for what it is, a nude/neutral palette, you can find actually superior options for less. So that's why it got our 2-star rating.
Yeah. Dan, you said the foundation I was thinking about when I had the blank earlier, the Ellis Foss Skin Veil. That is a great foundation for dry skin. Even for actually combination skin, it's workable too. But if you have dry skin, it's definitely a good option, to consider. And Ellis Foss is absolutely one that is on our list. A lot of great products from that line. On the pricey side, and there are some issues to consider with the packaging that makes it a little bit kind of something to be wary of. However, the products themselves, the blushes, the lip products, the foundation, the powders, all top of the line. So, of course, you haven't really gone through the whole process of scrutiny, for those, but just kind of in general, my experience with them, they're all really good products. But it is certainly, Ellis Foss is going to be on our list. We are absolutely going to do a write-up, kind of a little article on Ellis Foss, for our Facebook and social pages, and then we'll probably be reviewing those products kind of shortly thereafter, so you can watch for that. So, but thank you, Dan. You're like in my mind today.
You knew what Nathan was going for. I love it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is expensive though, $90 per bottle. But I mean, it is a very unique formula for dry skin or for combination of dry skin. So, okay, so the next one.
Oh yeah.
Here. The next one is I have no idea how long we've been on. There's no clock today. I wonder why. We've got this beer. Okay, we're good. We got it started about 10 minutes. So, the Smashbox 24-hour CC Spot Concealer, and this is one that I reviewed. This is really kind of the first of this type of concealer for the brand Smashbox, because they do some other concealers that like a cream stick concealer, and then there's highlighters. They have a great under eye BB SPF concealer, a liquid concealer. But really nothing for the face in terms of covering up a blemish, if you've had it. Well, this one is, this one has a hair in it. So this is a, after all that, I kept saying, I was like, oh, I never experienced the concealer getting in the rim of the cap, and now I do, and now I have it. Someone was mentioning on the website under the review that they kept getting this little kind of traveling bit that you can get with some concealers because of what ends up in there. And I said, oh, I didn't notice that. And now I screw it, and there it is. So, but that happens with some concealers. The thing with this is that it is super lightweight, and it has kind of a little eyeliner-like.
That is such interesting. I like the
and you just need
Is
a
it
little
like a
bit.
sponge or?
No, it's actually just it actually is like an eyeliner pencil or
wow,
eyeliner,
okay.
yeah. And you need just a really small amount, and I guess it's kind of hard to see in here in this light. But the thing with this formula is super lightweight and liquid, but it gives you 100% full coverage. Like you could hide a Siamese twin with this concealer here. And you need so little of it. So little, it goes a long way. In fact, that dot I just put on the back of my hand is way more than you would need to cover a blemish in your face. In fact, what I would recommend with this is, and I said this in the review and on the video, is using a really fine, thick, dense tip concealer brush. And this, you just need to take a little bit, and you can use this to your advantage, and just take this here, doop, 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 a little tiny amount, and just put that onto, kind of stipple that onto the blemish. Mm-hmm. The nice thing with these types of really small, dense, and this is actually the brush I use for a concealer. This is the Wayne Goss 07 brush. And so the thing with these really kind of short, dense bristles is it concentrates the pigment in a very short amount of area, a very small amount of area, so you're getting the result you're looking for. Whereas if you were to use a concealer brush like this, not only would you end up with way too much product over an area of your face and it would just be like this, like you'd see concealer, you would also spread out the pigment so you wouldn't get that concentration you're looking for. These are great for the eye area, not so great for the face if you've got a blemish or a red mark to cover up. And this really will get you the results you're looking for, a concealer brush like this. Nice thing with this type of product though is it's long wearing. This actually lasted through, I tested it through my morning run, and I sweat like an animal. And so this just held up. It actually looked, realistic. It didn't look like you were, like I had like a patch of concealer or anything. This held up really well through it, yet it washes right off.
Oh no, that's great. That's great to find a product that wears awesomely but washes right off is perfect.
Exactly. That's what I think too. It is pricey for a very small amount of product, but a little goes a long way with this. So you're not going to run out of this anytime soon. Don't use this under your eyes because the finish is super matte. And they even say that on the box on the website. They say don't use this under your eyes because the finish is super matte.
There's on the back, even on the
it says avoid eye area.
I'm seeing that. So
yeah, so you're not going to be happy with that. But otherwise, this is a great option to try that comes in a really nice range of colors too. So something to consider. All right, what do we got next?
All right, we have Milani Bella Eyes Gel Powder Eyeshadow. If you've been in a place that sells Milani, you've probably seen it comes in like 20-something shades. These are cute little gold packaging. Like that. That's one of the many shades offered. I mean, you have your options of kind of this like creamy beigey white. You have purple. There's a nice charcoal color that's called charcoal, so very descriptive. These are amazing because they do have a really nice soft texture. I'm touching this here. It's just not, it's just really soft. It is kind of a gel powder texture. It feels great on. Has great color quality. There's a lot of pigmentation.
Try some of this in the back.
It applies really, really well. Wears well. We find it doesn't flake. It doesn't kind of fade throughout the day. Where it's extreme. I mean, there are tons of color options, so you can pretty much get as many of these as you want. Okay, sit down. You're standing up. Maybe you're standing up. Sit down. This is less than $5.
Oh.
At the drugstore, less than $5, and it has high-end eyeshadow performance. And that's $5 regular retail price. That's not if it's on sale, or buy one get one free, or buy one 50% off. So I mean, you can get some of these for $2.50.
I know.
Depending. I mean, just amazing. And Nathan found that these are a dupe.
Yes, so this is the MAC new Extra Dimension shadow, which is a great shadow. It's really nice. It does have kind of a really nice kind of blendable, nature to it. But these perform, oh my gosh, they perform as well. The Milani's perform as well, and they have the same type of, finish, to them as the MAC Mineralized. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah,
So
wow.
these are actually a great dupe because not only is the formula very similar, but the finish is similar. The Milani's I thought actually performed a little bit better. So this is actually a dupe that was on our Facebook page that we put up. We had some people, and of course makeup is subjective. Everyone's experience can be unique. But we had some people who said these Milani shadows weren't pigmented. Do you see that? Do you see this? Do you see this person who said they were not pigmented? Can you tell me honestly that this is not good pigment to this? And you can see how evenly they apply compared to the MAC Extra Dimension. And I wasn't even trying to do anything. I just went zoop, zoop. Look at that. Come on. Come on.
It is great. And like I said, there are tons of colors. There are, they go from everything from, if you want to create a nice neutral eye look, you have like this Bella Cafe color, which is a nice kind of very soft brown. You of course have the white. If you want to create a smoky eye, the charcoal color is fantastic.
If 30 shades.
Like purple, there are 2 shades of purple. This is one of the 2 shades of purple. If you like metallics, they have this is bronze, but they also have copper and silver and gold. They even have a cobalt blue and fuchsia.
Yes.
If you want to, and emerald green, lighter green, yellow. It's like a rainbow of awesome colors and
yeah,
great performance and under $5.
And they do have some, some of them have some amount of kind of satin matte where they have some amount of light shimmer, and then others are absolutely much more matte to them. Like this purple here, this is just a matte shade. It looks like a little bit satin matte, but on skin there's no shimmer to it whatsoever.
They have a bunch of different, if you like sparkly, they have sparkly. If you like matte, they have matte. If you like satin, they have satin. If you like shimmer, they have shimmer. There's just so many options that it would be hard not finding one that you like.
Exactly. So, do you have anything else to say on that? So we had one question here from Sashimi One, which is, what are your thoughts on the importance of high quality brushes? There are, and this is what my feelings are, and then Mercedes will share yours, is that there are great brushes in a lot of price ranges. And then there are brushes that are more expensive that absolutely suck. I've tried quite a few of them on the market. The ones that I think are Hall of Shamers. God love NARS. I do. I think it's a great brand, but their brushes just suck. They really do. They're too scratchy, and I shouldn't say that because there probably are 1 or 2 brushes in there that are winners, especially some of the ones that have unique shapes to them. But overall, they're just too scratchy, I think, myself, especially for the price. Makeup Forevers are okay. They do have some interesting, brushes and brush shapes, and some of them are much softer than the god-awful, abomination that NARS makes. But, some of them, can be expensive and great, and some of them can be expensive and really awful. I personally really only use Wayne Goss brushes because the first run of brushes I've had forever, the first run Kevin O'Quan brushes, which were just broke the mold, they were really awesome brushes, but after about 12 years, they were about done.
That's an amazing length of time.
Oh yeah, and they
that's
didn't
amazing.
even start to shed. It was actually the handle that started to crack. The hair themselves was fine. The handles, though, they started to wear down and crack and all that, and so it just wasn't that good. So the Wayne Goss brushes, they're all excellent, and they are on the kind of moderately priced side. But man, in terms of the softness of them,
that is.
Yeah,
that's so dense. That has a nice density to it.
Yeah, and so not to make that a commercial about brushes that I like. Bottom line is that there you can find great brushes in all ranges. Some inexpensive ones. Mercedes, what are some of the ones I know that?
Sonia Kashuk.
Yes,
is generally pretty reliable, and that's a Target and the good price range. But in general, Sonia Kashuk's prices brushes are pretty good. Actually, we started looking at Eco Tools aren't bad, and those are also readily available at the drugstore. The Eco Tools brushes perform really well, especially considering their price point. So you can definitely find something good in just about every range. Of course, like Nathan was saying, the NARS brushes, not an inexpensive option, but certainly don't perform up to their price point.
Yeah. All right. So, my contacts are drying out. Okay, so let's take a few questions here. I'm going to kind of lean forward, and you'll lose me for a second because it's so bright in here that I cannot see anything.
It is. We got the sun shining outside, and we've got the sun kind of shining inside.
Yeah. So on the Luna oil, Dan had the question of reviewing the Luna oil from Sunday Riley. That is actually on our list for this month. It's actually on my list for this month.
I saw it today. I was checking the list, and it's there.
Yeah, it does have some fragrance ingredients in it. That I saw from a cursory look, but we haven't gotten the product yet. But when we do, we'll certainly give it the rundown. But fragrance, of course, is often never a great thing, because it can just be that potential for irritation. So, best under eye concealer and eye cream for dry and flaky under eyes. What are your options or your recommendations for under eye concealers?
Oh wow, I use I do have. Always have dry skin. I use the L'Oreal.
That was from. I'm sorry. I didn't say the name. It was Pearly Milkt. Pearly Milk Tea. That was the person who asked that question. I'm sorry. I just kind of said the question out and didn't give you a shout out. So
it's the L'Oreal. Oh goodness, I'm trying to remember what it is. It comes in the gold tube. It's the
True Match or the Lumi.
The True Match.
True Match.
That one. It's a L'Oreal concealer. Comes with a brush, so you kind of click up and it clicks. And that one I find to be a good one for under eyes. I mean, if you do have dry, flaky skin, you're definitely looking for a more emollient under eye concealer, which of course sometimes means it can slide around if it's too emollient. But you're looking for a cream or a liquid concealer. So a stick concealer, a liquid concealer. Pot concealers, kind of, but they tend to be a little tackier. And if you have dry skin, that may not be the best for that area.
Yeah, other good concealers, I think the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer is a great one. If you don't have super dry skin. If you have really dry skin around the eye area, it might not be a great choice because even though it says creamy, it actually dries to more of a satin matte finish. If you're looking for light to medium coverage of something that has some movement to it, and has some emolliency but doesn't tend to crease in the lines. Two great options: the Smashbox BB Eye SPF concealer. Also, the Ellis Foss concealer is a great one that has some really nice movement to it. Or what you can do is use a color corrector like the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector here, and use that to, as they say, backlight your concealer, which is kind of cute. But you can put that on, under the area, and then you can just apply, your concealer right through here and just kind of blend it out, so it kind of focuses on that darkest area for most people and blends out. And that way you can experiment with, some concealers you like. Definitely, I would recommend staying away from anything in a pot because usually, I would say it's not universal, but in a lot of formulas out there, they're too emollient. Like Bobbi Brown's, concealer, her under eye concealer. If you even get a little bit into this area here, it'll crease immediately. Even if you don't have lines, it will still crease on you.
Get lines.
It
there are
give you
products
lines.
that will give you lines.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly. So those types of concealers, usually like the liquid or wand concealers, tend to be the best. There are some stick concealers out there that can, that could be a good option too. But those are some great options to consider. In terms of eye creams, if you have a really super rich eye cream, that can definitely, cause your concealer to crease.
Yes.
If you have a really dry under eye area and your facial moisturizer isn't enough, you might try, a slightly richer or thicker cream and mix that with your facial moisturizer and apply that under the eye area to kind of experiment to find that right amount of moisture, for you. But in terms of eye creams, God, it's really more about your personal preference because as we said, you don't necessarily need a separate product, but if you want a separate product, then it's going to be a bit of experimentation to find one that works best for you.
Because most eye creams are emollient and are suitable for dry skin. So it's really make sure if you're getting if you are putting a cream there, just make sure check those ingredients and have it like packed with anti-aging ingredients and just beneficial ingredients and no fragrance or irritants or anything like that there. We all know that if you get irritation in the eye, you wind up with watering eyes, but there are some products out there, including eye creams, that do include those. So make sure you check that out, because that's also not having to do this all day. Also not good for the under eye area.
Yeah, and so we actually had a question about from Elvita17 had a question about, she's thinking about trying one of those clicky pen concealers. Mercedes mentioned her favorite from L'Oreal. As I mentioned, that Ellis Foss clicky pen concealer is a great one. The Smashbox clicky pen concealer is also a great one. Their BB concealer. So those are really great ones. The Makeup Forever one, someone just mentioned here, Stacey Allen did. It has a clicky concealer too. That one actually is a little bit different because it has a silicone pad rather than a brush that it dispenses through. And sometimes some people think the silicone pad is a bit gimmicky, but what that silicone pad is for specifically is once you dispense that product on top of the silicone pad, you're supposed to press the silicone pad onto the spot on your face that you want to conceal. So that works great for spot treatment because that concealer is kind of difficult to use on a brush pad. So that dispense, it actually helps to focus that, like this concept, on a very specific area to blend out. If you're using it for your under eye area though, you don't need that. You can just apply it right to your eye. It doesn't have the greatest staying power, which actually Stacey said herself. So that's one good option that's not great. Another great question here is Shashimi Wan had the question of any foundation or foundation primer recommendations for acne-prone combination skin. I'm using the Immaculate Liquid Powder by Hourglass, but I'm looking for there to be other shades that looks like a bit too dark for me. So I'm assuming that you also have oily skin. A great one that I'm going to give a shout out to is the one I just said a moment ago, MAC Pro Longwear. This is an awesome foundation if you have oily skin, especially if you need to cover some stuff up. This is a great one. The new one from NARS, their All Day Luminous foundation, the liquid one, is a great one if you have oily skin. It is awful if you have even slightly dry skin or a slightly dry patch, because it will find that patch. Yeah, exactly. It will find that patch and it will cling to it for dear life. So those are both great options for acne-prone skin, with offering a bit more coverage that layers really well. Any that you can think of?
Not too much. I mean, most of what I try is generally for drier skin. So
yeah. Primer, you don't really need a primer, but if you like primers, a great one to use is the one by I don't know actually. I don't really know of any great primers that you need if you have acne-prone skin. Really, I think probably what you're looking for more is something that offers you longer wear time. If you have acne-prone skin, the less you put on your face, the better.
True.
Yeah,
it's
so
true.
yeah, I mean, I can't think of any that I would say you really need to wear, especially if you have acne-prone skin. I can't really think of one that you necessarily even need, especially with some of these newer foundations out there. So, all right, what time do we have? Oh, I think we're out of time. We're actually like about 10 minutes over. Okay, so that is all for today.
I know. That was fun.
That just flew by. So
you guys had some great questions in there. If you still have questions, you can still ask them even after the show's over. We'll be checking this page here on YouTube. So submit your questions and we will answer them. So
yeah, absolutely. So thanks so much for all your great questions. There were tons of them here, and really enjoyed having the time here with you. We do focus on doing the best and worst shows of the month, first Friday, and then also after the show, here in about an hour, after I get my act together, we'll post the first best and worst skincare. Will be on our Facebook page, and I'll load that link into the About section. And then tomorrow will be the best and worst makeup products. So those will both have not only the products we mentioned today, but everything else we did not have time to get to because there are quite a few. But yeah, if you have any other products that you want to see us review, like we said, we've got tons of stuff coming out, every this month here, but be sure to let us know on our Facebook page. I did not mention this earlier, but I want to make sure I mention it, is we do have a new app for iPhones.
Oh, it's really
yes,
pretty.
and
Very pretty. It's nice.
I'm going to show you. Yeah. Yeah. So this is. Oh, I had it open. Okay. So we had a mobile-enabled, site. And now this is an actual app here. And so you can download this at the iTunes Store, and it gives you access, of course, to to the site. You can search by new reviews here. You can search best products. You can do either a list format, or you can do the photos here. It loads really fast, for you here. So. It's a great app. Of course, it is free, so be sure to take it with you. You can also, search reviews here either by voice command, or you can search by bar scan code. We are still getting a lot of the bar scan codes updated, so if you have some that don't work, then don't send us an angry email. It's something we're working on.
It just launched, so we're trying to get all there. There's a lot. We have thousands and thousands of reviews, and we're adding more every day, pretty much. So. So we're working on getting all those loaded up there. So if what you're looking for there doesn't necessarily come up just yet, check back. And
yes.
It probably will be.
Yes. So one very last one. Someone had asked, Always NYC had asked about microneedling at home. I would recommend. Oh, you can't even see that. The lights were so bright. I'm just seeing the actual photo of what it looks like. So microneedling at home, I would recommend that. Like I would recommend you doing a root canal on yourself at home.
That would be no.
Exactly. Yeah. I love root canals at home. It's the thing with microneedling is that yes, it does have some benefits. It's not going to ever touch what you can get from a laser, for example. But it does have some benefits when done by a dermatologist or an experienced esthetician. But the thing with microneedling is that those microneedles, those tools, are single use only. Even dermatologists and medical professionals do not sanitize them. They throw them away because you cannot sanitize them to an extent because of how microneedling is built. You can never actually get all the way in there and really rid it of all of the bodily fluids that can come out while you're being needled.
That's true.
So they throw those suckers away, but at home you don't because they're like $30 a pop.
So you're not going to be just like tossing $30 every time.
Exactly. And at the amount of time frequency you have to do it, it's going to be a very expensive habit. And I see people who will say, oh, I use a fresh one every time, or, I always make sure I sterilize it. One, you don't use a fresh one every time. I don't believe you. So I would not recommend it. And again, you cannot sterilize it to the extent you want. I don't care what anyone on any discussion board says about the matter. It's just not a good idea. Mm-hmm. I would just say, if you're going to have that done, if you want to experiment with it, go have a professional do it for you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because they pay a lot less for those microneedles than you will. All right. That's kind of an abstract ending there for you. But okay, so I hope you guys had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun too. And enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah.
Bye.